a few minutes. While we're doing that, just introduce ourselves. We are the AAAS Tech I team. I'm Jenny, and I've been emailing with several people, and you will have also got your reminder about this webinar from me. And I also have here
Christine. My name is Christine Gers, and I'm the second half of this Tech I team. And thank you so much for joining us for this webinar today. We're both tuning in today from a very rainy and wet Washington, D.C., so we hope the weather is better wherever you guys are.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cover a number of issues today. To begin with, Christine will talk about how you can actually ask questions during this session. We definitely want to hear your questions because that's the best way for us to try and help you out, especially with your own video. And after that, we'll then go through a number of different points. Christine and I have seen a lot of videos during the competition over the past year, so we'll be able to give you our top advice going forwards. I think our video is frozen, but I think we should be good.
Okay. So just to explain the software to you, welcome to our webinar, first of all. I don't think our video feed is working. But I'm just going to carry on. So clearly you'll see the presentation that we have, the Tech I competition presentation. Those are some slides that we're going to go through. You'll also see our video box, which is black at the moment because we're having some technical difficulties. But underneath that, you will see the attendees list and also a chat box. Now, the chat box is kind of your method of being able to ask questions to us. And these questions can be as simple as, hey, where'd you guys go? I can't see you right now. And then that will help us to fix the video, which
we're trying to.
Jennifer is doing right now. So when you want to ask a question and you want to that you want answered, you can certainly type it in there. If you cannot type in a question in English, there's a translate feature.
We're back.
There's a translate feature on the chat box. So this can translate other people's questions or your question for you kind of on the fly, which is really helpful. So feel free to type those in as we're going along. And Dilmarad, it's great to hear from you. So yeah, just as Dilmarad's just done, please feel free to kind of use that to benefit this webinar and make sure that everyone gets the most out of it that they can. So.
Perfect. So as you can see, not everybody has the best technology. We're using a webcam here on a laptop, and this is the kind of part of the video that will happen. If you do lose at any point, as Christine said, just tell us in the chat box and we'll try and get this up and running. But we do understand the difficulties of technology, and we will hopefully make sure that this continues to work. So as you know, this is the second of the webinars. This is how to make a promotional video. The first webinar is now available on the Tech I Gist Network page. If you go to the advice page where the schedule is, you'll also be able to click on that and see the last week's video. Last week's video really kind of explained the competition, explained who it was really applicable to, and why you should apply. This one is really focused on your promotional video, and then we've got one in 2 weeks' time, which is just before the deadline day on the 18th, and that one's really to ask any final questions. If you've got questions to do with your executive summary or anything else, that's really the time that you get to ask those questions. If you do have any questions in the meantime, by all means, send us an email, and those details will be available at the end of this presentation if you haven't already emailed us. Oh, see, I'm rushing ahead. So basically, I'm going to cover a quick bit about the application overview. So the application, if you've already started, just to make sure that there are two different stages of the competition. There are the idea stage and the startup stage. Now, this defines what stage you're at with your idea. If your idea is still in your head, or maybe it's just on paper, you're definitely in the idea stage. For people in the startup stage, you've maybe got your business started. You've got a team of people around you. You know who your mentors are. You've assessed who your market is. It's a much more progressed version of the idea. From that, you can kind of see in the program announcement, also on the website, there's many different ways of defining that. If you are confused as to maybe your idea, but you're a bit more progressed and you might be startup, by all means, email us and we'll be happy to answer that. We'll also go into more of those details in 2 weeks' time to really make sure that you are in the right sector. And then the applications themselves. We are looking for applications in four main areas. That's health, agriculture, energy, and ICT. Now, within those four areas, we accept everything that might exist within them. If you are worried that your application doesn't really fit directly into one category, let us know. Send us an email, and we'll be able to work with you on a personal basis to make sure that we really fit you in correctly. If you do apply, for example, and you've applied under ICT because you've got a health app or website, we might contact you and tell you that we've actually moved you to the health sector. If we change your sector, or if we change you from idea stage to startup stage, we're doing it for your own benefit to ensure that you really are assessed against the right criteria. But we will let you know if this happens at all.
Okay, so what goes into an application? And we talked about this again a little bit last week, but we want to make sure that we get everyone up to speed. There are two main things that go into your Tech Eye competition application. The first is an executive summary. It can be up to 750 words, and it must be written in English. And as far as assessment goes, really we're looking at the why, the how, and the who in your executive summary. So for the why, we want to understand why your product or why your idea is significant and why it's relevant. So why is it needed? What's the problem that's creating it? The how. This is the scientific and technical merit, meaning how are you going to solve this problem? How is your product or your idea or your company going to influence this problem? And who will benefit from it? So the commercial potential. These are kind of basic business questions for any entrepreneur, but they're really, it might seem simple, but it's really important to keep this in the front of your mind when you sit down to type up your executive summary. You really want to understand why you're doing what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and who are you going to do it for. So that will basically ensure that you kind of cover your bases. And again, it must be written in English. Now, the second part of your application will be the 90-second promotional video. This video must be in English, or if it's not in English, it must have English subtitles provided so that our external reviewer team can read and review it. Now, Jenny has put together a couple samples from folks that we had in our competition last year who actually came with us to the GES finals in Morocco. So throughout this presentation, we'll kind of jump in and show you some of those samples just so you can really get an idea of, you know, what people have done in the past. And most certainly you don't need to try to, you know, emulate them or make a video like these individuals, but they're all so different and diverse, and that's what we're really trying to show you, is that it's really what you're talking about, not how you're talking about it or how many, you know, helicopters you have flying through your video, which we haven't seen any of that, but but just as an example. So those are the two main parts of your application for Tech Eye.
Perfect. Now let's get into the details about a video. So we get a lot of emails here with, I can't make a video, I don't know how to do this. A lot of the emails being sent from people's iPhones. A lot of the emails being sent from people's computers. As you can see, we're doing today's webinar using our laptop that we've got here. It doesn't always work, as you saw at the very beginning, but we get to work it sometimes. So yeah, so my first bit of advice really is use the equipment that's available to you. We do not expect everybody to have a film crew, a camera crew, lighting, costume. We do not expect anybody to have that, and you certainly won't even be assessed on that. So use the equipment that's around you. If you do have a laptop that you are using to apply, definitely use the webcam if it has it. Use whatever you can within that thing, and I will talk about the software that you can recommend to use. You can use a cell phone. This is a great idea, and we saw a lot of this last year, and a lot of really great applications came through with people just sitting, talking to their cell phone. You can also use a handheld camera. A lot of digital cameras, you'll be able to take pictures, you'll be able to mesh them together on a computer, be able to take a really short video, and we are only talking about 90 seconds. So most, even the basic cameras will take videos up to about 2 minutes, so actually you should be good. You can also use a video camera. We're not saying you shouldn't, we're just saying you don't actually have to have this. Now, if you don't have a laptop with a webcam, and you don't have a cell phone, and you don't have a camera, we fully understand that a lot of people applying to this competition don't have these items. So if you do have a laptop and you are able to access the internet to apply, there's also a number of ways that you can actually do your presentation. You can do it on PowerPoint, and you can have a number of slides, and there are a number of websites which are able to turn PowerPoint presentations into moving videos that last 90 seconds. My other recommendation is to use software, for example, powtoon.com. I will let you write that down if you want to do that. It's also on our website. I can highly recommend this, and a lot of people used this last year upon our recommendation. You are able to, on this, make 3 videos up to 5 minutes. You are allowed to have different things flying in from the side. You can include images. You can include this. This is also really great because you can do your own voice over the animation, or you can get the animation to do the voice for you. Now, what we understand is that around the world, there's many, many different reasons as to why you might not want to speak. If your spoken English is currently really particularly broken, if you're female and you feel like you would be judged because you're being female and would rather have a male voice, you can do these different things within the software. To basically give you an example, we have got one from last year. The video that we will just quickly show you now. This is one of our finalists. He was from Morocco, and he was at the finals with us in Morocco as well. And I just really think this is a great time to actually show you exactly how we can kind of use the software to our advantage.
So, you have an item to ship? That's when the problems begin. The existing solutions are either too expensive, with long-term delays, or not convenient. Let's think about it. People are traveling every day, right? There are maybe not so far from you. Why not take advantage of it? You could ship your item with one of them. That's what Sheeply is all about. Sheeply is a platform that connects travelers with people that have items to ship. Choose your departure place and date, when the item should arrive, write a description of the item, and the price you want to pay for it. Meanwhile, travelers that want to make money share their travel details on Sheeply. When a traveler gets interested by a shipping request, we get you connected. Together, you can decide when and where you'll meet. Sheeply is fully safe. We do a checking on profile and identity of our users, and the items you ship are covered by an insurance. We guarantee the payments through our secured platform. With Sheeply, earn money, free yourself from big company constraints, and reduce your ecological footprint. So ship your items cheaper and make profits from your trips. Sheeply.com. Ship, travel, earn.
So that was a great kind of demonstration of a video where you didn't actually see the person behind Sheeply, this company. You didn't see their face. It was actually a male who did the video, and that was a female voice that you heard in the video. You didn't see them at all, but you probably have a very good idea of what this product is. They started off with exactly what we talked about, you know, the why, like what's the problem? Why is there a problem? How are you going to fix it? This is kind of what we talked about for the executive summary, and then really talking about what the product was. So it was kind of a full range, and this is a great example of someone who used a software platform online to build a video, just to demonstrate that it doesn't necessarily have to be you standing making a selfie video. You can use the tools that are out there online.
So that video, as you can probably see, you might look at it and think, oh wow, that's actually professionally made or anything like this. That was made using free software. That was made using the software that I have recommended that everybody use. There are a lot of webinars and tutorials on the website for powtoon.com that you really can try and learn. And there's a lot of different translated materials as well to give you the advice you need. But that was a video that was for one of our finalists who went with us to Morocco last year. And as Christine said, we're going to kind of throw a number of these videos at you. I will also send the link out so that everybody is able to access all of the finalist videos from last year so that you really can kind of get an idea. So I will type in here while I move Christine on to the next slide. That's your question.
Okay. So while Jenny is answering this question of what the specific software is, the basics for your video. The maximum length for your video is 90 seconds. That's only a minute and a half. Now, as you can tell, like you might be able to talk about your idea or your company for 10 minutes. Sadly, we can't listen to it for 10 minutes right now. And when you go to get funding or you want to talk to an investor or anything like that, they don't have 10 minutes either. And that's why we're constricting this to 90 seconds. We're talking about your pitch, your business pitch. Think about, I always say this, think about getting into an elevator with someone who has the money to make your business happen. You have, from the time the elevator leaves the ground to wherever you're going, to sell them your idea. So this is like your elevator pitch. So 90 seconds. Now, it must be in English, and if it's not in English, then it must have English subtitles. Now, we certainly have a lot of videos that come with English subtitles. If you are speaking, for example, Arabic in your promotional video, and you have Arabic subtitles, that sadly won't work, and you will likely get an email from one of us saying, we're going to need to have you translate your subtitles, otherwise we're not able to have people review your video because of our contest rules. So,
and on that, there is plenty of software out there that can help you to put on these subtitles. So if you are in that situation, by all means, email us, and we will be able to get you those details. We actually do have a video, which it might be convenient to show by Haluz now. We've got a video of somebody. You'll be able to see in his video, it's clearly somebody with a camera who's just filming him. He's surrounded by all of his different plants. But it is one of those, you will be able to clearly see that it is not him speaking, and that he's actually done a voiceover. So that's another option. That actually, if you're not comfortable doing this live, you might be able to film something and then do a voiceover.
Yeah, it'll give you the chance to practice your lines. And watch it and kind of narrate the video as it's going. So that's actually a great thing.
So
we'll show you this video.
We'll play by Haluz, and then we'll come back to this one.
This is another finalist who came with us to Morocco.
A soilless agriculture that uses only water and nutrients. This technology is a new concept and perspective in production of animal feed in Ethiopia. Hydroponic green feed production has many advantages. One, minimum use of land. 50 square meters of land in hydroponic method is equivalent to 10,000 square meters of land in conventional method to produce 600 kilograms of animal feed daily. Secondly, it reduces growth time. In conventional practices, it takes 45 to 60 days to grow a consumable green feed, while only 7 days is needed to produce such green feed. Thirdly, it reduces water consumption. To produce 1 kilogram of animal feed, it requires 80 to 90 liters of water in conventional method. This is reduced to 2 to 3 liters of water under hydroponic. Fourthly, land fertility is not an issue in this technology. Any marginal soil can be used for production of green feed. Fifth, yearly round production. If these are the general advantages of hydroponic methods, the following are the product benefits of green feed. One is high.
Okay, so that kind of basically shows you another option. So, like the next point, there's no specific format. So if you have, if you are working in a lab, or Behalu in this particular example, he's working he applied clearly in the field of agriculture, and he has his grass crops that are growing around him. He's showing us his workplace. He knows what he's doing. He knows his product. He knows what his idea is. It's very clear to him. But in some instances, it's easy to kind of film that and then talk about it after the fact. So there are examples. This is an example of, there's no predetermined format. If you feel more comfortable practicing your vocal pitch at a later point in time, you can certainly use software and add that over your video after the fact. So this is just to kind of show you the diversity of the videos that we have, that we've received in the past, and just to kind of give you an idea. Now, what is your video going to be judged on? This is what's really important for everyone to kind of pay attention to, because we're telling you up front what we're telling our reviewers to look for. So there's no surprises here. We want to understand that if your video is engaging, meaning does it interact with the audience? When you're watching the promotional video, are you being drawn in? Do you have questions that need to be answered? Is it reaching out to your audience and your potential customers? So that's what we mean when we say, is it engaging? Is it appropriate for a broad audience? And then the third is, does the video show the market potential of the idea or product? So if you have a new type of asphalt that you want to lay on the road, and you make a video of the road, and you're just talking about this asphalt, that's kind of that's not enough for this competition. We want to see more. So if you're just videotaping, you know, the ground, or if you're videotaping, like in that instance, if Behalu had just shown us the grass and wasn't talking about what his company is, what he wants to do, what's the market potential, and can, you know, people from basically anywhere understand what your concept is, that's really how you're going to make a successful video.
Okay, yeah, and on that, this is a promotional video, so imagine that this is a commercial on television. You really have to sell it, exactly what Christine said. Behalu's was perfect. He couldn't figure out how, we worked with him, he couldn't figure out how to make a video. He decided the best way to film himself was to walk around his plants and show us, but then really kind of took that step back with it. Okay, I need to be able to think about this. I need to sit down and concentrate on my English. And with Behalu, his English was not strong. So he was able to sit down with a script and really work through it. And definitely practice makes perfect with these. Try it out in front of a friend, try it out once or twice, do it multiple times, especially if you've got the capability to do that, because you will suddenly find one video when you're like, oh, I actually think that one works best. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so while we've said that there is no format, what we've put together is a brief recommendation as to what structure we think would work perfectly. And the videos that we've seen, these are the kind of structures that actually work best. What we'd love to see is tell us a bit about you and your idea. Like, this is perfect webinar. We introduced ourselves very, very briefly, and then we introduced what this webinar was about. You've set the scene for everybody, so everybody instantly knows what's going on. If you remember the first video, they instantly started off with we are Sheeply. So you instantly knew, okay, I'm listening to this. With Behalu's commercial, essentially, he started off with the text and the music. That music kept on going throughout, but you remembered, oh, it's hydroponics because it was the very beginning. So introduce your idea at the very beginning. What then we've seen as being the best thing is to then move on to tell us the background to your idea. Why is this a problem? Really, what kind of solutions are you working to solve? And how are you working to solve this? And then you move into your solution of exactly that, how you're working to solve this. Sell your idea, exactly the asphalt. Tell us why we should invest in this. And then close it. This is probably the most important thing. You can see in a number of these videos, 90 seconds might seem like a very short time when you're creating it, but you can get a lot of information in there. And what you do need to get in that 90 seconds is something that keeps us hooked, that wants us to find out more, that would want us, make us go to your website, or it would want to make us find out a little bit more, read articles about you, or anything else. That's the real kind of selling pitch. As you see on TV, there's a lot of commercials where they always leave the product at the end, or they always leave the title at the end, or something that makes you get there. On this, we've got a great video that we're going to show you next. This is from David Gluckman, who was our overall winner in the startup category. Now, his video is very, very different. His video is not an animation, and it is not like Behalu's. It is a professionally made video, so it is a bit different. But often, a lot of startups have the capability because they've had to reach this point of commercialization where they actually have to do that. So we'll show you David's video now, and then we will discuss that afterwards. Let me try and turn the volume up so that everyone can hopefully hear it this time. If you can't, we will email all the videos afterwards, and you will be able to watch this webinar again and remember which videos specifically we were talking about at which stages.
In South Africa alone, shack fires account for more than a quarter of all fires and take more lives than all others combined. Between the years 2000 and 2010, more than 240,000 people were displaced, and just under 70,000 shacks were destroyed. For people already living at the margin, the loss of property has dire financial effects and further entrenches cycles of poverty. Shack fires pose a serious development challenge, one that can be prevented with fast detection and quick action. This is currently unavailable. Kusela aims to change this. Our solution uses innovative yet simple technology in an integrated early warning system. We use low-cost in-shack heat detectors, which trigger an in-shack alarm, allowing users to act quickly in putting out a fire. These heat detectors communicate with one another, so that in the event of a fire, the whole community is alerted to the danger and able to respond effectively. As a third level of protection, users can use the most basic cell phone to send accurate locational information to the nearest fire department at the push of a button. Simultaneously, we send an SMS warning to all our users in the affected community. Join us in making millions of homes around the world a safer place to live.
So this is another really great example, and just to kind of reiterate, we have two major phases for this competition. We have the idea phase and we have the startup phase. Now, after watching this video, you can kind of tell that this particular product is in our startup phase, meaning that they kind of already have their business plans in place. They've been working on their product development. This particular individual, David, actually brought a prototype to GES. So they're a little bit farther along in the process. So if you're looking at that video and thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way I could do that, please don't be afraid. But also we want to kind of showcase, because we're really proud of these folks. They've really, people in the past, and we know people this year will really do a great job. But exactly what Jenny kind of recommended, as far as the video structure, it was really clear. We knew who they were. We understood what the problem was from the video. We understood their solution. And then with the closing, we understood exactly what this product was setting out to do. And he really did a great job. Now, this is also an example of, you didn't actually see the people behind the product. There was video feed of people from local communities, and then there was animation. So it's just another kind of example to show you what we've received in the past and what, you know, we're encouraging you to shoot for this year.
And this really is it. This is a whole level above where the other videos have been, and it has kind of brought all of it together. Once again, there was a female voice, and David Gluckman was our finalist, and he was male. So once again, it's kind of that different level. But as you can see, there was a clear definition of the problem. There was no mystery as to why they were doing this or whether there was a need. There was a clear need, and then they were able to actually, with the prototype, show that. What we'll actually do is show another video now, which has gone along the same structure. The person is actually in our chat room right now, so Dilmarod, you are about to see your video all over again. But Dilmarod's video, actually, he introduces himself. He introduces the problem. And this is really, he was in the idea stage, and you'll be able to see the difference. But this is somebody who's just filmed themselves. And still a very, very effective video. So let's check that one now. Oh, sorry, wrong one. There we go.
Hi, my name is Dilmarod, and here I would like to talk about my business idea. I'm from Uzbekistan, and last year some provinces in Uzbekistan having shortage of electricity. I was thinking whether there's a solution for the problem and reduce the power bills. And I've decided to launch a business to import solar panels, inverters, and to offer local customers. I think it's a good project. It's a win-win project because it's good for the household, good for the society, environmentally friendly, and of course it's good for the business. I think the business can succeed because there's a need for the product. Thank you for watching my presentation. Good luck.
So that was actually a perfect representation of this video structure. He introduced himself. He introduced the problem. He told us what the problem was, and then he told us his solution. Within 50 seconds, and that's all that Dilmarod's video was, he managed to go through everything, and he left it with a close. He left it with wishing everybody good luck. He left it with his name. So we knew instantly, even if his idea didn't have a name at this point because it was very, very early on, he had a clear idea of what he wanted to do. Now you can clearly see the difference between all these videos, but once again, I will remind you that all of these videos were finalists who went there. Both Dilmarod won a prize while he was there. David won a prize. So we really are kind of showing you that actually the videos, it can be as unique to you as possible.
Really diverse. We're really trying to accentuate the diversity of this competition and kind of how many people can be included in it. So top tips and advice. We've kind of been talking about this throughout this webinar, but now we'll just put it on a slide for you. Be creative. Think about what you can do to stand out. Think about the person who's going to be watching your video. Think about your audience. And think about how you can do things differently. This is all part of being an entrepreneur and being an innovator. What makes you different? What makes you excel? We want to see that come across the screen in your pitch video. So think about different ways you can be creative. And this also goes along with showing your enthusiasm. Now, Jenny and I, when we show up for each webinar, we think we need to encourage as many people to apply as possible. If we sat here and we were just, you should apply to our competition because it's the best.
If you want to.
Yeah, if you think it's cool, then you should. That would kind of, maybe you wouldn't want to apply to our competition. I wouldn't. So we're sitting here and we're trying to, we're creative. We put up our banners to show you kind of what we do. And we're enthusiastic, well, because we like what we do and we care about it, but also because we want you to apply. And so share your kind of enthusiasm with your audience as well.
And this is it. We are exceptionally passionate about this competition, and we're exceptionally passionate about everybody who applies. If you do email us, we will always respond with help because we want this opportunity to be yours. Dilmarod's a perfect example of we really worked with him during the application phase all the way through the final, and he's now actually a massive success. So it really is one of those that we really kind of do want this to be a success for you. But also, this is easy for us. This is obviously part of the GIST initiative. This is something else that we're passionate about. These are your ideas. You get to show the world how amazing you are to come up with these ideas and that this idea is yours. This is your chance to honestly show the world just how amazing you are. And we can't really emphasize that anymore. When you get to the voting portion, your videos will go online and your videos will be voted on by the voting public. Last year, there were over 405,000 votes. There were way over 500,000 people viewed the videos. It was crazy. During the voting alone, up to 65, 3 people had their ventures fully funded because investors went on, saw the video, saw the enthusiasm and the passion behind it, contacted the person, interviewed the person, and ended up funding their ventures. This is really a great opportunity for you, and we cannot tell you this enough how important this video is.
And so that actually links in perfectly with the next point, is think about where you're filming, the physical location of where you're filming your video. Make sure you have the light turned on in the room. Think about who's going to be watching your video. So put on a dress shirt, and think about how you want the world to see you. So again, this will be up on YouTube. There will be hundreds of thousands of votes happening. Lots of people will be looking at you and wanting to know about your product and about your business idea. So think about showing yourself in the best light. If Jenny and I were sitting in here and we had really bad lighting and you couldn't really see our faces, that would make it difficult for you to kind of connect with us and learn about this competition, or at least stay engaged. So think about the physical location of where you are. Think about how you're presenting yourself, what you're wearing, and really try to make your best impression.
And this is it. As important as this is, there are also times when actually maybe that isn't possible. And we've got a great example of this coming up next, and we'll show Cynthia's video now. Sometimes that might not always be possible, and sometimes you might not have the lighting, you might not have the best equipment, and you really have to make the most of what you've got. On that, the main thing is the content that you are saying. You will at no point be assessed or judged on the quality of your video, on anything else. We are recommending that you look at where you film and how you address, so that you feel your best. We know that when we walk into this room and we put the banners up, we know that we get excited about this. If we were sitting in a dark office, we might we might get sleepy. It's wet and cold outside. We might really think, oh, do you know what, actually we're not kind of involved in this. So try and put it in your best light. What we will do now is show you a video from Cynthia. Now, Cynthia was a phenomenal finalist. She walked away with a second place prize overall and the overall best female entrepreneur prize. Cynthia was phenomenal, and her video of her presentation at the GES is available online. Now, the great thing is about Cynthia, she was exceptionally powerful. But when it came to her video, you might look at it and think, oh, that's kind of not on the same level as anything else. What you must focus on Cynthia's video is the content. Her content was perfect for what was needed. She came up with amazing marks from the expert panel. She received huge amounts of public votes. So we'll now let you see this video and you can make your own judgment.
According to International Fund for Agricultural Development, Nigeria, being the largest producer of cassava in the world, generates an annual production of over 40 million metric tons, of which 30% is generated as waste, comprising of cassava peels. Due to the lack of knowledge of the value to waste in the cassava processing goods keeping system in Nigeria, farmers often discard or burn these waste openly to dispose of them cheaply. This releases more than 10 million metric tons of carbon monoxide and other forms of pollution in the atmosphere, damaging the air, the health and quality of people living in the community.
So what is KPC all about?
KPC, Kaddish Production Company, Feed Innovation, capitalizes on cassava farmers and large cassava industries in Nigeria by converting cassava peels, which is regarded as waste, into a marketable product for livestock feeds, which provides a measurable economic benefit for both cassava processors and goat keepers, with an average annual income of less than $2 per day. So rather than burning this waste, which imposes great environmental pollution, we purchase it from them, dry them, and then convert it into a specific diet for livestock feeds for goat keepers, thereby eliminating the practice of burning waste, thus reducing pollution.
So this is an example of a video where there were clearly some constraints on the technology that she had available to her, and then also the location that she was in. So you might have been thinking when you were watching that video that she was recording a computer screen in the beginning, where she was clearly doing some kind of PowerPoint presentation. And then when she went to talk, you probably thought, wow, that room is really dark. But this video kind of demonstrates that if you are in these 7 C's of communication, if you're clear about what you're talking about, if it's easy to understand you, meaning you're coherent, if you're concrete, you really understand what your product is and why you should be doing this, and I'll let Jenny go over the other ones because there's a lot. That comes across in the video. So while this video might be difficult to watch for some, it kind of demonstrates that it really is the content of what you're saying in your promotional video and not the quality. And that's what we tell our reviewers when they judge your videos and your executive summaries, and that's what we're telling you right now. And we're showing you such a diverse group of videos that clearly represents also a diverse kind of access to different resources. And all of these individuals came to Morocco with us. They came to the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, and the majority of them walked away with cash prizes and also with a whole wealth of knowledge that we offer.
Yeah, and that is why we specifically picked these. The rest of the videos, we could keep on showing you every single one of the 30 videos from the finalists. We could actually show you the 65 from the semi-finalists, and we'd probably show you 400 from everyone else because we were massively excited. But you can see the differences. You can see the differences between Hisham's very animated thing at the very beginning through to David's, which kind of had a bit of everything. Really think about what's best for you and how you want the world to see you. With Cynthia, she was confident enough in her idea and the words that she was saying that she didn't need the animations and everything else. That's all she had accessible to her, and that's what she used, which is perfect. We're not going to judge you. At no point was Cynthia marked down because her lighting was bad. At no point was Hisham marked down because he used animation. At no point was Dilmurad marked down because it was just him in front of a wall. Now, this is what we're really trying to get across here, that yes, while it would be amazing for you to be able to create this amazing promotional video that could go straight onto TV like David Gluckman's, it's not realistic. And what we're here to do is really to help you get the tools and to think about your sales pitch. This is what the promotional video is about. It really is about you selling your idea. So in the executive summary, you're able to go through the problem in a lot more detail, 750 words, to get a bit of the science and the technology that's required to get the information down, follow the structure that is in the program announcement to really make sure you are hitting those different things. And this is your moment to show us how excited you are. It really is. And I've put on there at the bottom, think about the 7 C's of communication. These are really, really important. I guarantee throughout this entire session, Christine and I have probably failed on some of them, but we really are, we do this in a very informal fashion. If we were to make a 90-second video on TechEye, you wouldn't see me waving my hands around, you wouldn't see us kind of laughing and joking. We would get very quickly to the point. 90 seconds is very short amount of time. If English isn't your native language, or even if English is, we all speak quickly when we're trying to rush in a lot of information. So practice it, and think about the 7 C's. So definitely be clear with what you're saying. Make sure that you are actually able to be heard. And I think that's what happened with Behalu's video. That Behalu's video, I think I remember being one that was submitted. We couldn't really hear him. We couldn't do everything else. So he actually just talked over it, and it was very, very clear. Be concise. We all like to tell a story. We've been on this webinar now for 41 minutes. I certainly don't think we could have done this in 90 seconds, but be concise with the information you're trying to get across to us. We don't need to hear your resume. We don't need to hear your background. We just need to get to the exact information that you want the world to see. Be concrete and correct. There is nothing worse than providing a fact. For example, Cynthia has provided a lot of facts. There is nothing worse than providing a fact that when you get to the expert panel or to the voting public, that's incorrect. So make sure that what you are saying is right, so it is concrete, and it is there, especially if you're using any scientific terms. I am a physicist, and I will know if you're trying to defy the laws of physics. So make sure that what you are saying is there. Make sure you're also being coherent with what you're saying, that we have been jumping around a lot, but make sure you do have a flow plan of how you're exactly going to do this. If you use our recommended structure, then perfect, because you're going to be able to think through the process in a logical manner. Be complete. This is what we've exactly said. You've got to close off everything you're saying. So there's nothing worse than, I've got halfway through my problem and I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to tell you my solution, and I've run out of time, and I'm going to do this. We actually had one person at the finals last year who told us an amazing story in his 5-minute pitch. But unfortunately, in his 5-minute pitch, he never got to his solution. So by the time that the bell rang for the end of his session, he didn't get to his solution. So he was unfortunately unable to get that completeness. And also be courteous. Dilmurad is perfectly there as to how it is. Just be polite. Be courteous to us, and be courteous to your audience. This is how the world is going to see you. The world, when they looked at Dilmurad's video, knew that he was instantly a nice guy. When we knew we were taking him to Morocco, we knew we were going to meet him, and we knew exactly what we were going to get. We were going to get manners and politeness, and this is how you want the world to see you. So that's kind of all our top tips there.
We have a quick question, which I'll just answer very quickly, asking if we'll provide feedback on videos that are submitted early. If you submit your video early and you don't ask for feedback, you probably won't receive feedback. If you submit your video early and you email us saying, can you take a look at my video and give me any kind of feedback or recommendations, we will certainly watch your video, and based on our own advice and just kind of our own, what we can kind of anticipate you being judged on and the criteria, we can give you broad recommendations. We won't sit there and say, change this, change this, change this, but we'll say, it's kind of hard to hear you in this video. Like, as I said with Behalu, if it's difficult to hear you in this video, or if we see kind of a grammar mistake in your subtitles, that's something that, and if you ask us for feedback, we will give you feedback on. So you'll have enough time to kind of redo it, to amend it, to change it, and then re-upload your video. So certainly that's the case.
So people have been doing that already, and they have been submitting their videos and asking me to quickly look at them. And this is exactly what Christine said. We will look at them. Christine and I are not expert judges. We are here as the Tech Eye team. We have seen a lot of videos throughout the past year, and especially even this year. We will give you the best advice possible. We are here to help you, assist you through this process.
Yeah, actually, we should say just that we don't have any kind of sway in who makes it to the finals. We can't review any applications because that would be biased. So just to kind of get that out there, just so you know, like, our advice will be honest, and it will be totally, it'll be honest, and just as long as you know that we don't have any kind of sway or power besides empowering you.
And this is it. And it's actually a great opportunity for you that you can consider us two mentors for your Tech Eye application. And if you are selected as for semi-finals, really on how to learn how to communicate and advertise your product. That is what we are here for. That is what we are doing on a daily basis at the moment, making sure that everyone's application is as strong as possible. If you do email us and ask us to look at your video, we will look at it as soon as possible. I will give you the ultimate advice that once the deadline is reached, if we look at your video and it is not in English and we can't see you, we can't hear you, we've got a number of videos already in where there is no sound, we will contact you at that point and ask for you to fix it. Now, if you've reached the deadline day and you ask us for this and we come back to you with the advice, it's going to be a quick turnaround. We might give you 2 days to get the video back to us to make sure that it's submitted. Now, we understand that a lot of people don't have access to everything all the time, and you might need to go to a local village or town to really access the internet. So if you do want us, or you know that is your situation, by all means contact us. We will give you honest advice, as we have said, whether it be for your executive summary or for your video. And that's I hope that helps your question. I'll let you finish off.
Okay, so next step. What do? You apply to Tech Eye. So to our website at thegistnetwork.org.
That's not the right website. I've typed that up wrong.
Okay, that's not that you go to, but we'll fix that and get that to you. Actually, Jenny's typing in the correct website right now. So you go to our website and you sign up for your application. You email us your questions. If you know that, or you kind of anticipate that your resources will be limited at the end of the line, don't wait until the last minute to send your questions to us. Be an advocate for yourself. Get those questions in early so we can really help you and you have enough time to make those changes. The worst case scenario is when someone submits an application, something could be changed or should be changed, and they don't have enough time because of events out of their own control. They have their electricity shut off, or they're out of town, or they just don't have access to the tools they need to change it. And that's one of those situations where it's just unfortunate. So we don't want to see that happen to any of our applicants. So please get started on this process early. Email us your questions, participate in the GIST Network discussion boards, and attend our next webinar, which is on March 18th. And this will be really advice on how to complete your application package, and that's just to make sure that people are finalizing and tying the final ribbon on their package. So
I'm going to re-emphasize what Christine just did about emailing us early. At the moment, we are able to respond to emails in a very, very quick fashion. To give everybody an idea, it is Christine and myself on this team. During the last week of last year's application, we received over 2,000 emails in a week. Things got very, very busy for the two of us, and people did not get a response in the time frame that they needed. So if you do have any questions, make sure you come to us early. We will work around the clock to make sure, especially during the final week, that you are getting everything you need. But the earlier you actually email us with your questions, the earlier we will be able to help. Also with applying, if you decide to upload a video and then you go out of town or you go to visit a friend, and that friend suddenly has a better camera and you want to make another video, you can access your video even if you've hit submit and resubmit a different video. And that's a different way that you might be able to think about that, or you might think once you've submitted one video, then you can contact us, ask us to look at it, we give you advice, and you can then go back into your application and change the video in the application.
And then again, our deadline is currently March 20th. So please, finish your applications early and give yourself the best opportunity that you can have to be really successful in this competition. And then I guess...
And then we'll move on to some questions.
Yeah.
So we've had a number of questions that have come in already. Because Christine just went through that, I will start off with one and then give her a break. There's a lot of people who are struggling to upload their videos. Now, I understand this problem. Videos can be up to 100 megabytes. 100 megabytes for a lot of people is a very difficult connection speed to upload to the system. Quite often the system is timing out and they're unable to do this. Also, there's a number of people who've got it in a different format that is not acceptable by the system. If you are one of these people who is struggling to upload your video or has it in the wrong format, contact myself and I'll be able to work with you to do that. We've got a number of suggestions that you can do. You can upload it to YouTube and then share it with us and we can download it. You can upload it to sharing platforms, for example, Google Drive or Dropbox, and share it with us. You can just email it if it's small enough. What I'll then be able to do is go into your application, upload the video on your behalf, and then let you go in, see that it definitely is uploaded, and hit the submit button. I will not hit the submit button on your behalf, and that will all come down to you, but make sure that you are hitting that submit button before the deadline day.
Okay, so now I'm going to touch on some questions that we've been getting, and we actually have one that popped up in the chat box that I think I can kind of loop into this group of questions. And that's really not knowing how to create the video, like what to say in your video and what not to say in your video. So first of all, for our chat box question, I'll just say very quickly that my best recommendation, if you know what your idea is, but you're thinking, gosh, I don't know how to talk about that, I don't know how to get it across, I would really say talk to your friends about it, talk to your family about it. The more you talk out loud about it, the more clear it will become in your mind. You'll get another idea of how to describe it, how to think creatively about it. So my best advice for that situation when you don't know how to talk about what you want to do is to really discuss it amongst your inner circle of friends and family. If you're at a university and you have a professor or a mentor already, talk to them about it. Bounce ideas off people, see what people think is good, what people think is bad. So that's kind of my suggestion for that. Now because we have a really broad kind of category of sectors, like we have the health sector, we have agriculture, ICT, and then energy. There are some sensitivities, whether they're cultural sensitivities or kind of political sensitivities when it comes to making an application. If you, for example, have a project that's dealing with a disease, a spreadable, transmittable disease, and you want to kind of work within that field, but you want to be politically correct. You don't want anyone to feel isolated or stereotyped. Or if you have a project where you feel like there might be some kind of political sensitivities to what your idea is. Maybe it goes against what your government is currently promoting, or maybe it doesn't really fall in line. We understand that the world is kind of in different phases of development. We understand that people are all living under different circumstances and different situations. And I worked on a personal basis with a few applicants last year, reviewing their information and making sure that they weren't saying anything that would get them into trouble anywhere, or working with applicants to kind of make sure that they're not feeling like they're stereotyping people or they're presenting people in the best light. This is one of those instances where you reach out to us, you talk to us about what your challenge is, what you feel like you're having trouble with, and we work with you on a one-on-one basis to make sure that you really are having the best opportunity that you have. So these questions about the content of your video, making sure that you're being politically correct, we're great at that. So just email us and we will work with you on an individual basis. We really think that's the best way to kind of tackle this challenge.
Yeah, and to go back to the first point that Christine was saying on really how to sell your idea, because I think this kind of brings into the next point as well. this isn't meant to be exceptionally difficult. The video isn't meant to be a hardship on anybody. It really isn't. This is really kind of starting your training to think about how to promote yourself in the best possible way. I know personally, I may have a lot of great ideas in my head, but I don't have it in me to be the amazing entrepreneurs that you are, to put that into this, to basically go out there, and our webcam switched off again. To go out there and to continue doing everything that you are doing. You can see that we clearly have technical issues here. So it is one of those that use whatever you've got. The content I don't have in me, and as that you are. Okay, weird things are happening. But I'm sorry, I'm just hearing myself through the computer now, which is the oddest thing. So yeah, so with that, let me try and get this to work now. To put that into this. Sorry.
Could anyone do us a favor, and if you are hearing us, can you let us know? Can you type into the chat box if you're able to hear what we're saying?
Have we lost everybody? Okay, we'll finish this webinar anyway so that we can make sure that it definitely goes online. Our timer is still ticking around, so we hope that everybody is there. If you can, clearly, if you do type into the box just to let us know. But yeah, so the question that we've got here is to do with what kind of content you can use. If you don't have a prototype, if you don't have images or drawings, if you don't have anything that specifically you could really show, you can do a video exactly like Dilmurad's, which was literally him just talking to us. Okay, people can hear us. Perfect. We're back. But yeah, it's one of those of show us what you have, right? We do not want to know what you don't have. So if you don't have a prototype, if you don't have a business model, if you don't have a business logo or a team or anything else, then don't show it to us. Show us what you do have. We just want to see the excitement that comes along with your idea. That's it. So use anything that's around you. Once again, if you are concerned of, ooh, can I show this? Can I show that? Contact us and we'll definitely be able to help you with that. This also leads into another question that we've had about how many people should be in a video. Now, you've seen a number of different videos. Often people are applying in teams. And people are like, so how many people should I have here? If we tried to include many more people in this webinar, if we had another team of 10 people everywhere, it might be chaos, especially if people aren't really paying attention. So if Christine was looking to the ground or she was bored or on her cell phone or doing something else like this, it would be really distracting to a viewer. So make sure the people that you've got involved are focused on what you're doing. If you're in a very, very distracting environment, maybe think about moving yourself slightly out of there. Last year we had a semi-finalist, and I haven't got this video available, but we can definitely make it available, who was actually filming while on a boat. Now, he was filming while on a speedboat because it was to do with dry fish packaging. Now, the video itself had perfect content, but we really had to focus on what was being said because the noise of the boat was so loud. Often there's a lot of videos that we get where there's a lot of markets especially and everything else. That is exceptionally loud. So really, once again, think about your setting. Think about the number of people who are in your video because any external noise is going to affect how you come across. Okay, I think we've got a couple more questions and probably one last one here. What happens if people keep on coming back to us with, I can make a 90-second video. We've had people who've emailed me with that. I've got half an hour interview that I did on TV. I'd like to be in, can I submit this? What I will say is, and Christine mentioned this to begin with, 90 seconds is the absolute maximum. If you submit a video which is longer than 90 seconds, even if it's 2 minutes or if it's 30 minutes, the expert reviewers will only watch the first 90 seconds. Moreover, if you are selected as a semi-finalist and you do go online, I will cut your video. I will contact you and tell you I have cut your video, but your video will be cut to 90 seconds. Last year, we had a number of people who were slightly over, maybe kind of like 120 seconds. and they had their closing part in that last thing. By the time we get to the semifinals, we do not allow anybody to change their video. Their video is set in stone once the deadline day, and we have taken everything to internal review. So I cut their video. It then meant that a massively important piece of their video was then missing, so they actually didn't get selected to go to the finals. So really be careful about your content that you are doing. Just you saw with Dilmurad's video that it was 50 seconds long. It doesn't matter if your video is much shorter, but 90 seconds is your limit. We will be getting in touch with you after the deadline day to really go through this with it. If it's over 90 seconds, we will be asking you to cut. Obviously, you do not have to cut it. You do not have to. You can work with the 90 seconds. You can work with whatever video you submit in, but you have to be aware that we will squish it. We will cut it to 90 seconds.
Okay, so we have 2 questions that just came up on our chat board. I'll take the first one. I'll let Jenny handle the second one. So the first question was asking, and these aren't really video related, but that's totally fine. The first question is asking, what if your idea or your startup really falls into 2 categories? This is a really good question. So let's say you, the best example is kind of pairing health, agriculture, or energy with ICT. That's kind of the most common that we've seen. So this is when you're maybe you're building a website, or you have a system software platform, or you have an app for a phone, but it's a health app. What if it's a medical app, or it's an agriculture app to kind of, let's say, predict, precipitation and stuff like that in your local markets. So that's kind of the easiest example of something that could really fit in 1 or 2 categories. What we will tell you is that historically, throughout this competition, the majority of the applications we receive are in information communications technologies. So the majority of the applicants have ICT proposals. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And if you have an ICT idea and it's strictly ICT, then please press forward and apply. But if you have something that's kind of, maybe it's health related, but it uses IT too, it might benefit you, or it might be better for you and help your application be stronger if you applied in the health category. Now, this is something that we kind of, as we've kind of said a couple times, we go through, we work with you. So specific questions, and you want to make sure your application is in the right category, you can, of course, shoot us an email and ask us. When we're going through and doing our internal reviews, if you've applied and we think you kind of belong in a different category, that's when we will reach out to you and say, hey, we feel that, you might be more competitive if you actually apply in the energy category. So, we ask for your permission before we do it. We don't just change it for you. We say, can we move you to the energy category? And if you say yes, then that's what we do. If you don't respond in that kind of circumstance, then you stay where you're at. So that kind of answers that question of, if you fall into 2 categories, really think strategically about where you could be the strongest as an applicant, and ask us questions, apply early, and if we kind of suggest or give you a recommendation later on, it really is in your best interest what we're doing for you. So
yeah, if we move you, exactly what we said before, if we move you, it will be for your own benefit. It will not be detrimental at all to your application. So definitely pick one category to go with. You can then submit it in, and we can turn around and look at it and go, actually, and we did this a lot last year, actually we think you'd fit better in this category. If we do that, it is for your own benefit. So the next question that we've got, can an applicant apply for the idea and startup stage? The simple answer is no. The best thing that I can suggest to yourself is if you are part of a team, then your team can apply in 2 different ways. Your team can apply if you personally apply, for example, for the idea stage, and maybe a colleague were to apply in the startup stage. The applicants themselves have to be different people. You have to be the different. So Christine here could apply for the startup stage, and I could apply for the idea stage. I could not personally apply for both. You do run the risk of, if you put yourself down as applying for both, that we will remove both from the competition. Ideally, we'll have enough time to get back to you with it, or which one do you really want to go with. If you want to submit via email your idea to us and your startup to us and ask, which do you think would be more successful in the competition, by all means do that. We'd love to see a brief description of each of them, and we can tell them, actually, do you know what, in the startup stage, you might not actually be as competitive as some of them that are there to maybe go with the idea stage, because this is brand new. Also, if you've got a startup which is in, for example, ICT, and an idea which is in energy, we might recommend it for different reasons like that.
So the next question has to do with intellectual property, and this is a really good question, because as entrepreneurs, of course, you're concerned, rightfully so, with protecting kind of your ideas, protecting your business plans. Now, in this phase, when we're kind of going through the application phase and doing webinars, everything is in confidence. Jenny and myself, we do not share your information with anyone, but there is something you should understand, and this is something that there actually is a section in the program announcement that details this. We are putting a microphone in front of you to the world for them to hear about your idea. And this is something as an entrepreneur that you really should be prepared for, and certainly something that, you will experience down the road. Do you want to?
Yeah, so with the IP protection, as Christine said, definitely consult with the program announcement. There is a huge section in there on terms and conditions, which if you do have something which you haven't been able to register or patent yet, is there to cover you. But as Christine said, your video and your executive summary will go online. It will be there for the world to see. Now, unfortunately, we had one applicant last year who went all the way through the semifinals, and in the day before closing on the semifinals, I received an email from a colleague of that person saying that they didn't have the rights to the intellectual property, and that person was removed from the competition. Now, that's heartbreaking for us. Oh, there you go. Sorry, the computer just decided to switch off. In the process, when you select that, when you submit your application, you are required to type your name in, to digitally sign the application to say that you have read and you conform with the terms and conditions. Within those terms and conditions, you are saying that you have to the intellectual property that you're doing. Obviously, if you have got a design which is kind of out there and you don't want anybody else to steal it, email us and let us know. There's a few things that we've done with people in the past. Definitely in your video, don't say anything, because that video will not be able to be edited. You can be as we've discussed, you don't have to go into the specific technical details. It's a very broad overview of what you're doing. In your executive summary, if you go into the science and technology in a lot of detail and you don't want that to be released, what you can do is you can email us with the same problem of, I'm concerned about my intellectual property. Once this goes online, it might be stolen. And we can at that point remove sections, and we did this last year. We removed certain paragraphs from the executive summary so that when it went online, technical details were not available to the public. Now, definitely put those technical details in to begin with, because the expert reviewers, they all signed confidentiality agreements. They all agree that everything that they read is with confidence in exactly the same way as Christine and I. We certainly couldn't take any of your ideas and do anything with them.
So if you get to GES and let's say you do all those things, and then you come to the Global Entrepreneurship Summit and you pitch at GES to win this competition, you should anticipate that there will be cameras filming you. There will be people wanting to know more, and you might not have your patents, you might not have your copyrights and your trademarks in place yet, but that's all part of this process. And actually, as part of our training last year, we had a session on intellectual property and kind of protecting that. So the large caveat to everything is that the intention of this competition is to put you on a global stage so that you can succeed. So that's something you should be prepared for.
Yeah. And it is one of those, as Christine said, once you get to the finals at GES, if you do get to that stage, we will work with you to ensure that everything is massively protected. But it is one of those that, unfortunately, it is the risk in this world. We definitely will not take your ideas, but who's to say that somebody out there won't? That is, unfortunately, the risk you run as entrepreneurs in this day and age, that somebody out there might want to do that. We are going to do everything possible to ensure that that happens. And if you do look at your terms and conditions and read all them, you will see that all covered in there. If you do have any questions regarding the terms and conditions for IP protections, then by all means, email us and we will be happy to discuss these with you. All of the terms and conditions have come through AAAS, have come through the lawyers, have come through everything for the exact reason that you're asking this question, that we want to ensure that your intellectual property is protected. There you go.
So, Law, we've had a few follow-up remarks from you asking about it seems like an agriculture project. Off the top of my head, agroecology is not a sector or a field, so I would definitely say agriculture is your best bet. But if you want to follow up with us via email after this webinar, we can really kind of spend more time and answer that more specifically.
I think a really quick answer to that question is yes. So we've had it in a number of times where people apply with companies and that company does a number of things. So we've had it where people have a website and an app or different things. So if you're using different ideas within your company, you can definitely apply with, here's the overall company and here are the 7 or 6 different tasks that you do. But as Christine said, if you would need any more specific details, by all means, send us an email. That is tech-i@gisnetwork.org. I will follow up this email this webinar with an email to make sure that you all have the links to the videos, that you all have the links to everything else. This webinar will be available on the advice page on GIS Network for the Tech Eye. This will be up as soon as I physically can get it up there. We will also make sure that everybody has access to the videos on there. So for myself, thank you so much for your question today. We really hope that we've been able to give you the tools that you need to make a great promotional video. And if we can be of any more assistance, by all means, get in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, and have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.